The Young and the Restless Spoilers. Shock Wednesday. Full. The 29th of July, 2026. Welcome back to our channel, everyone. Today is a beautiful sunny day, but things in Genoa City are darker than ever. Grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive deep into the absolute emotional roller coaster we just witnessed. We have so much to unpack today, so let's get right into the heart of the drama. I cannot believe they went there. I am literally sitting here typing this up late at night, staring at my screen with my jaw on the floor because I am just an absolute emotional wreck after watching the latest episode. I mean, we all knew this was a possibility, right? The doctors warned us, they warned her, but actually seeing it happen, actually watching Nikki Newman's bandages come off and realizing that her world is completely dark, chills. Absolute chills. I am still shaking from the intensity of it all. React first, explain later, but that mirror smashing scene? Give Melody Thomas Scott all the daytime Emmys right now. Just back up the truck and give her the trophies, because that was a masterclass in acting. And let's just break down that exact moment because it is burned into my brain forever. You have the doctor there. You have Victor hovering over her like this giant, overbearing shadow, and the gauze slowly comes off. You can see the desperate, fragile hope in Nikki's eyes. She is practically holding her breath, and we are holding our breath right along with her. And then, nothing. Just this hollow, suffocating, pitch-black nothingness. The way Melody played that exact second of realization, it was so subtle, and that's what made it so brilliant. She didn't overact. She didn't start screaming right away. It was this quiet, horrifying wave of pure terror washing over her face as she realized she couldn't see the sun, she couldn't see Victor, she couldn't see anything. It's all black. There's nothing there. Hearing her cry, those words just absolutely shattered my heart into a million pieces. But it's the aftermath that really got me. Because Nikki is Nikki, right? She has this immense, almost toxic Newman pride. Even after getting the most devastating news of her life, what does she do? She insists on walking up the stairs at the ranch by herself. She is literally counting the steps, refusing a cane, refusing help, just desperately trying to cling to any shred of her independence. I was screaming at my screen. Like, Nikki, stop. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You are allowed to be weak right now. But she can't. Because she has spent 45 years on this show being the strong, resilient matriarch, and the thought of being helpless is worse to her than the blindness itself. And then we get to the vanity. Oh my God, the vanity scene. When she is sitting there in her bedroom, nervously brushing her hair, staring blankly into a mirror where she can't even see her own reflection. The sheer frustration and the overwhelming sense of defeat just bubble up inside her, and she violently smashes the mirror with her hairbrush and completely breaks down, sobbing. I'm sorry, but if you didn't cry during that scene, you have no soul. Am I the only one who felt like that shattered glass was literally a metaphor for her entire life right now? Everything she knows, her entire reality, just fractured into 1,000 pieces. I've been watching this show for years, and this is honestly one of the most raw, visceral, heartbreaking things they've ever done with her character. And you know what terrifies me the most? The relapse potential. We all know Nikki's history. I've been a fan since the early days, and remember when they tried this kind of heavy physical trauma storyline before? Her brutal battle with MS? Her endless, agonizing struggles with the bottle? Yeah, whenever Nikki feels like she's losing her independence, whenever she feels like a burden, she reaches for a drink. I am so scared they are going to push her back down that dark path. I know some people are loving this gritty, realistic medical drama, but personally, I don't know if my heart can take watching Nikki hit rock bottom again. The temptation to just numb the pain of the darkness is going to be so strong. Wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, back to the point. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Victor Newman. Can we please talk about Victor for a second? Because I am losing my mind over his reaction to all of this. For the first time in his miserable, controlling, power-hungry life, Victor is completely and utterly powerless. And I am honestly here for it. I mean, I hate that Nikki is suffering, obviously. But watching Victor squirm because he can't just throw money at a problem or intimidate a brain tumor into submission is fascinating television. Victor is a man who thinks he is literally God in Genoa City. He thinks he can manipulate fate, the law, and apparently biology. He brought in the top optical nerve surgeons in the world, assuming that his massive checkbook would guarantee a miracle. Because that's how Victor operates, right? He buys his way out of tragedy. But life doesn't work like that. You can't just bully a severely compromised optic nerve into healing. Seeing him stand there, completely helpless, while his wife is plunged into darkness, is such a massive blow to his ego. It's almost poetic justice for all the horrible things he's done recently, but it's Nikki paying the price, which makes me so incredibly mad. And hold on, let's not forget what this absolute snake is actually doing behind the scenes. I have to mention this because it makes my blood boil. He is playing the doting, supportive husband, wrapping a blanket around her shoulders, gently guiding her to the sofa, and telling her she's safe. But we know the truth. We know he used her medical crisis, her severe headaches, and her drug-induced haze to trick her into signing a medical power of attorney that secretly transferred all her Newman Enterprises shares into a trust he controls. He is liquidating her assets while she goes blind. How sick is that? He is literally robbing her blind while pretending to be her savior. I can't even process the level of hypocrisy here. So while he's pretending to be her rock, he is actually her biggest betrayer. And you just know he is not going to accept this medical diagnosis. What is his next move? He is going to find a scapegoat. Because Victor Newman never, ever accepts that sometimes bad things just happen. He is going to blame the doctors for botching the surgery, or he'll somehow twist this to blame Jack Abbott or Patty Williams or anyone who has caused Nikki stress lately. He is going to go on an absolute warpath because he cannot handle his own impotence in this situation. He needs an enemy to fight because he can't fight the blindness. But the family dynamics reacting to this diagnosis are what's really tearing me apart right now. Let's look at Victoria and Claire. Oh boy, the generational trauma is jumping out so hard. We have Victoria, who is acting like a complete emotional wreck, but masking it with this insane toxic positivity. And then we have Claire, who is just standing there serving cold, hard facts. Victoria is driving me up a wall right now. I'm sorry, but she is. She is hovering around Nikki, insisting that her sight is going to come back, acting like if they just wish hard enough and smile big enough, the optic nerve will magically heal. I know you'll get your sight back, Mom. Like Victoria, please. Read the room. The doctor literally just said she might be blind permanently. Remember when they tried this kind of denial with past family tragedies? Yeah, didn't work then either. Victoria is so emotional. She can't handle the reality that her mother might be permanently disabled. She is clinging to this false hope because the alternative completely shatters her perfect, controlled Newman bubble. She relies on her emotions, and right now, her emotions are telling her to reject reality. And then there's Claire Grace Newman. Am I the only one who is totally Team Claire on this? Claire is approaching this entire tragedy with pure, unadulterated logic. She is looking at the medical facts. The doctor said the optic nerve is severely compromised. She is trying to prepare for the worst-case scenario. And Victoria is getting so mad at her for it. Victoria thinks Claire is being pessimistic and cold, but Claire is just being a realist. You have to look at where Claire comes from. She didn't grow up in the cushy Newman ranch with Daddy Victor fixing all her problems and buying her ponies. She grew up in a world of severe trauma, manipulation, and survival with Aunt Jordan. She knows firsthand that hoping for a miracle usually just gets you hurt in the end. For Claire, facing the brutal, ugly truth is a survival mechanism. She needs to know exactly what they are dealing with so she can adapt and plan. I actually think Claire's approach is infinitely healthier than Victoria's delusional optimism. Claire is dealing with facts, while Victoria is drowning in feelings. The clash between these two is just brilliant writing, I have to admit. You have the emotional, privileged daughter versus the logical, trauma-hardened granddaughter. It's creating so much friction, and honestly, poor Nikki doesn't need this right now. She is literally sitting in the dark, terrified of her future, while her daughter and granddaughter bicker over the right way to cope with her tragedy. It's peak soap opera drama, but it's also so deeply human. We all cope differently, but Victoria really needs to step back and realize her mother needs grounded support, not a cheerleader for a miracle that might never happen. So, what is going to happen next? Are they really going to keep Nikki Newman blind forever? Look, I've been watching soaps way too long to believe this is a permanent condition. I know the doctors are saying the optic nerve is delicate and might never heal, but come on, guys. This is Genoa City. I predict we are going to get months of agonizing drama. We're going to see Nikki struggling to adapt to her new reality. Maybe a terrifying moment where she almost gets hurt, or like I said, a moment where she almost falls off the wagon. And then, right when all hope is lost, boom, a miracle surgery. Or the nerve spontaneously heals on its own. Actually, I'm kind of hoping for a massive twist here. What if her blindness ends up being the very thing that exposes Victor's ultimate betrayal? Think about it. Because she can't see, she has to rely entirely on her hearing. What if she is sitting quietly in a room, and Victor assumes she's asleep or not paying attention, and she overhears him talking to his lawyers about the shares he stole from her? What if losing her sight heightens her other senses, and she finally sees right through Victor's lies? That would be the ultimate payoff for this storyline. I am absolutely here for blind, badass Nikki Newman taking down Victor from the inside. Ugh, I just have so many feelings about this whole thing. I hate seeing legends like Nikki suffer, but the acting is just top tier right now, and the dramatic potential is off the charts. Melody Thomas Scott is carrying this entire show on her back, and Victor is being the ultimate hypocritical villain without even throwing a single punch. I'm dreading the emotional roller coaster we're about to go on, but I'm also completely glued to my screen. Let me know in the comments if you guys are as stressed out as I am, because I seriously need a support group to get through this storyline.